You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Tamla Morris Brown, CEO of Aaliyah's Motivation of Women. Tamla's pain is her motivation, which is also her battle cry. Join her in her leadership to bring awareness to fibromyalgia. Let's make a difference and bring the end to 24 hours, 365 days a year of pain. Tamla Morris Brown can be reached at 313-289-4090. That's 313-289-4090. Join her if you or somebody you know has fibromyalgia. Tamla, a soldier in pain.
Discover the truth.
Original, we the first to do it. And all these other nations are just our children. Even the pale skin was made in our image. Read the book of Ruth and check out your lineage. It's the melanin that gives us a dark complexion. That's a gene, no color separation. The Willie Lynch let it work to perfection. 2000 something and y'all still guessing. Don't know your nationality or your family tree, cause you refuse to listen to the prophet you are leading.
Salutations, people. Today is one of those days where we got a treat for y'all. You know, we blessed because we the best. This is TV 33 WHPR, and you tuned in to the Think Tank Show. And I'm your brother, Brother Bay, and we do it like we do, you know, and like nobody else do here at TV 33 WHPR 88.1. FM, WHPR, and we can't forget about our brothers and sisters down in the Virgin Islands at WVIE, which is 107.3. We locked in today with or you locked in today with myself, and I got a beautiful, special co-host for y'all today. Guess who I got? I got Miss Renee stepping out on faith from 88.1 WHPR and the Virgin Islands, you know, and this is Renee stepping out on faith right here. You know, this is my sister. And me and the sister, you know, we do our thing together. You know, we got what is called the Round Table, and I was grateful to even be a part of this particular program, the Round Table, which airs every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday,
brother
Freddie.
Is my mic on?
Brother Freddie, he's working it out. I guess he's gonna give us his 2-shot when he stopped chewing.
Must be nice. Save me some fries.
Guess he stopped chewing. But we every Friday from 2 to 3.
Well, you know what I want to say? And nobody knows this, but you actually came up with the name, the Thursday Round Table. Well, you said the Round Table, then I put the Thursday on there. So you never take you're so is the humble is the word I want to use. You never take credibility for that. And you always say, "Oh, Renee's producer, Renee's show, you know, on the Round Table." But you actually put the Round Table title in, whether you remember or know or not. I might have added the Thursday because I didn't know who else had Round Table, and we didn't want them to be trying to say we copy. But you said it. Let's call it the Round Table, and it's been that way since then. The Thursday Round Table. If I had the applause button,
yeah,
I give
but
you
you
that.
still don't got the shots fired button. So I'm still a little vexed about that.
All right.
But you know, y'all, I mean, the thing with the Round Table, what I want people to understand, just because you see Noble Drew Ali, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the Honorable Marcus Mazel Garvey, and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad got our back. That doesn't necessarily mean that this is a religious-based program. People must understand that Marcus Mozelle Garvey was a Christian.
Really?
Yeah, people don't understand that. Noble Drew Ali, of course, was a Muslim, and Elijah Muhammad himself, you know, he was one who subscribed to Islam as well. But when we talk to the people down in the Virgin Islands, you know, we have a tendency to always remember, or we have to have a tendency to remember that demographics are different and backgrounds are different because our demographic is getting bigger, or we're reaching more people. We're all the way in the Virgin Islands, of course,
Yes, we are.
because we have the control panel here in Highland Park, Michigan, which sits right in the smack dab in the middle of the city of Detroit. And what we try to get people to understand is that we're bringing more faces, we're bringing more personalities and more demographic to the table as far as education, entertainment, et cetera, with WHPR. As a matter of fact, we just had Tyrone Bynum that just got off the air. And they were talking about something that is extremely pertinent, and that is, do you think the impeachment of Donald Trump should be inevitable? Me personally, myself, I say no. I say let the man stay in there, and what you get is what you get. But then when
But they
you
try
look
that
at it,
all the time. They tried to impeach Clinton. They tried to impeach our Obama, say he wasn't really an American. Remember? So every president almost that comes in there, they try to impeach the first year.
yeah.
Don't you think so? Do you agree? Have you seen that lately?
Well, for the most part, you're absolutely right that they always, you know, you got one side that has a problem against a president or about a president. Then you have the other side that help get him in office. They don't have a problem with that president. But what we have to always understand is that the United States of America is a melting pot of a lot of different cultures, paradigms, and or mindsets and ideas. And I think even in that, even what we've been through, our people been through here in the United States of America, that's what makes this country so great. Opportunity, different ideas, and being able to explore and exploit those ideas that you have. And that's what Donald Trump did. He explored and he exploited the ideas that he had, and it worked for him. Am I upset with his presidency? No, I'm not upset with Donald Trump's presidency.
But we can't be.
What
Because
I
he
am,
is president.
I'm hoping that Donald Trump's presidency itself, it incites people to do more things in the community and become more proactive with the political machine. This is my hope of his presidency, not to be violent, not to be,
Is he already pushing the button? I heard he's like, we're going to war. Looks like we might be going
Listen,
to war with North Korea.
Donald Trump-
Allegedly. Let me use those terms.
you know, Donald Trump, you know, I think, you know, the man is, you know, he talks a lot. He has a lot of things that he says, and he's unfiltered to a certain degree. But for the most part, we ain't going to war unless Congress say we're going to war.
Because it's not all about his,
No.
he's, you know, and people think and say this all the time, oh, he's there with the button. Like the button is sitting on his desk, and he's the only one to just say, well, I feel like it today, I'm just going to push it.
Right,
But he has to go through other people.
right,
Everybody has to have a team
right.
and a board members and things of that nature. Things got to be voted on.
And a lot of people don't understand the political process, and that's why I try to tell people all the time to educate themselves to what the political process is and what they can and what they can't do. Just because he's president of the United States of America doesn't mean that he has absolute power. He has people that he has to go through as well to get certain policies and everything else passed. He can't just push the button and say we're going to war without taking it to Congress.
And he
Congress has
said
to
that.
approve that.
Did you hear him when he said, I didn't know being president was so hard.
Right.
I didn't know it was going to be this complicated. I
Right.
thought it was going to be easy. What he thought he was going to be the boss. He was going to be in control of the world. And he actually thought Obama had it easy.
Right, and he
You know,
didn't.
and he did.
Now he get a chance to actually see
And live
what the
it.
man went through.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people think that Barack Obama sold people out and didn't do what he said he was going to do. when that wasn't the case.
That's right.
They wouldn't pass the things that he wanted to implement.
He had to
It
fight.
wasn't that simple. Yes, he has executive power. He can do certain things at the stroke of a pen. Yes, certain things. But that power is limited within itself because that was the whole purpose of, and this is my humble opinion, and I could be absolutely incorrect, but I think that was the whole purpose of this particular political machine that we have here in the United States of America coming from underneath the crown of England, so that it wouldn't be absolute power, so that the people will be represented for the people by the people in this republic that we have over here in the United States of America. So people don't understand, just because a person say that he's going to get in office and he's going to do this and he's going to do that, well, that has to be voted on. That has to be approved.
That's right.
You know, it has to go through channels. So just because certain things is in place right now, that doesn't necessarily mean that Donald Trump has absolute power to change them or overturn them. Some things, yes, but not all things, especially when it comes down to going to war. But he is one of those type of personalities that I see Kim Jong-un wanting to antagonize, meaning the head of North Korea. I can see Kim Jong-un having a ball with Donald Trump because he is easily antagonized. He is someone that they can easily push a button on and get him to say outlandish things. He's not filtered. He's not poised. He don't have the swagger, and you would probably never get that swagger again in the White House like the Obamas, from Barack to Michelle, Sasha, Malia, and the little dog. I forgot his name.
Me too.
But Fido even had swagger.
You say Fido, Toto.
Yeah, right. So I mean, it's just a matter of we got a call. We're gonna take this call.
Yeah, I
see
put
what
the
they
number
talking
out there
about.
too.
Yeah.
You didn't mind, did you?
No, caller, you on the air with the Think Tank Show. Please state your name and what city you calling from.
Hey,
Caller, we
I'm
talking to you.
his brother Fleming. I'm calling from the dirty South.
Okay then.
The dirty sad.
Mississippi. I have a comment and a question for you, brother. You were on last week, and I was listening to you, and you said some things that made me go do a little research. But my comment is about the Honorable Marcus Garvey. And a lot of people don't know, as you so well said, that he was a Christian. He wrote a whole treatise on his doctrine, his spiritual philosophy of Christianity, besides his opinions and philosophies. And a lot of people don't really understand that this brother was a Christian, which says quite a bit about our the religion that's in our communities. But you said last week, you mentioned nationals, and just kind of struck me, so I decided to go do a little research, and I just found some interesting information about the way they explained being a citizen and a national. And it was just kind of, it was somewhat confusing, to be honest with you. How in America, you can be a citizen, every citizen is a national, but every national is not a citizen. I mean, do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I do. I get.
And I was just wondering if you would elaborate on that a bit.
Well, you know, citizenry in the United States of America varies. There's granted privileged citizenry, and there is blood right, or how we say, just solely, just sanguineous citizenry, right of the blood and right of the land when it comes down to citizenry. When you look at, let me give you an example dealing with our people over here that is recognized as being black people in the United States of America, and some would say even women, Caucasian women over here. When you look at the voters' rights bill, this is something that has to be re-signed periodically. This is not something that's etched in stone where it was signed and that's that. It's something that has to be renewed. Now, you can research it yourself. It was something that had to be renewed even in the Obama administration or right before, where they had to re-sign the voters' rights bill or the amendment, the 15th Amendment. But if we're natural-born citizens, there's no need for a voters' right bill and or amendment to be added to the Constitution of the United States of America. So when you make your point about some nationals are citizens, but not all citizens are nationals, you make an excellent point. But that is something that a person has to be willing to do the research. The one thing that I realized about us as Americans, or us as living here in the United States of America, is that we're lazy intellectually. And what I mean about that is we're willing to accept whatever those people that we view as being the authority figures tell us. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's true, because the dumbed down machine, this was something that was implemented to dumb the citizenry down in order for them to be able to do the things that they do. If the citizens wasn't dumb, then people can't get away with stealing money. People can't get away with certain things that they do from different municipalities, etc. And arguably some would even say that about Kwame Kilpatrick. I don't fault Kwame for participating in a system that was placed, or something that has been implemented before he even got there. And it has nothing to do with Comey Young. It has nothing to do with any of the other tenures or administrations before Kwame Kilpatrick. This has something to do with what happened 100 or 200 years before there was a Kwame Kilpatrick. And all he did was inherit the paradigm that is within the machine of that municipality that was being done for years. Let's look at what's going on with Snyder. Look at what happened with well, you might not be familiar with the Michigan politics, but we have had. Oh yeah, I didn't say I wasn't. That wasn't a complete. I was saying you may not have familiarity with the Michigan politics, but when you have people like John Engler, his wife, cousins had so much invested in fences in the state of Michigan. And somebody would say, well, what they got to do with anything with Kwame Kilpatrick? Because John Engler's wife's cousins was the fence man. Well, all those prisons that was built in the state of Michigan, John Engler's wife's cousin was the one who was on top of the fences and the barbed wire that was being erected around those prisons. That's a lot of money.
Right.
You
know, brother, what you're saying is just so vital to what we need to do. You talked about the laziness in our unwillingness to do any type of in-depth research. Kwame Kilpatrick, by the way, I still write him. I just sent him a letter last week. Wow. I stay in touch with the brother because I may not be as deep, but I understand my brother. I understand something, and the concept of brotherhood means a lot to me.
Right.
So I don't just diss the brother. I just don't throw him under the bus just because the media says, this is a bad dude that you need to look out for. And they've been doing that to our fathers for a long time.
Mm-hmm. But well, the thing about that, and this is, I intend to cut you off. This is intentional to cut you off because I want to interject something. That what Kwame did with Ferguson and them was what Kwame was accused of doing, allegedly, and what Ferguson was accused of doing, and everybody that was around them that was accused of doing and may have got convicted of doing.
Yeah.
Them Caucasians been doing it since the beginning of them coming over here, robbing, raping, and pillaging this land and the people in this land. That's not new. The only difference with Kwame is Kwame had the gall and the gumption to cut them Caucasians out, and when he did that, they came at his butt.
That's right.
Bottom line.
You had the super blacks in the city of Detroit, fist pumping super blacks, down with it, council people that pump their fists all the time, and different ones, and they were all down with the man. You would think that nobody voted for this man.
Right.
But, because, and this is what I think is the fundamental problem with the city of Detroit. Betrayal and unfaithfulness to each other. And Kwame Kilpatrick is the pinnacle of that betrayal, to show Detroit what she looks like for real. She killed her own son.
Well, I mean, that's the history.
I don't want to go there, man. I wanted to just really ask you this. I've had the privilege of living in a number of places, a number of states and cities in this country because of the type of work I do. Mm-hmm. And I've in each city that I've gone to, in each state that I've gone to, I've got an opportunity to go into our communities and get a sense of the politics, the religion, the social structure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing the exact same thing going on everywhere.
Right.
And from what I see is religion is the most, I mean, the guy talked about religion being the opiate of the people. Religion has reduced our people down to superstitious people.
Well, let me say something. Let me cut this off because me and the sister
Okay.
Renee, we was
I'm
talking.
gonna hang up and listen.
No, you don't have to hang up. You can stay. But
Okay.
me and the sister Renee, we was talking about that very same thing, and it's the irony in it.
What that is?
About religion,
Right. We
and
just was
and,
talking
and
about
making
this today.
and trying to make it inclusive because some people will be alienated because or may feel alienated because I'm a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America. My co-host is a member of not this co-host right here, but my co-host Katrina Muhammad is a member of the Nation of Islam, and then my sister Maxim Cook Bay, who has a segment on a think tank show called The Moorish Thought, is the Grand Sheikah of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Temple 13, Pontiac, Michigan. So people may feel alienated and they think that we're coming from Islamic perspective, but that's not what this show is about. But we have to be mindful.
At the top, yeah.
We have to be mindful that when our language is different when you cross religious barriers. When you cross the religious lines, the language becomes different. So because the language is different, the interpretation of what we're saying is not what it should be because the language is different because of our implementation of what it is that we're saying. The dialogue is not the same. Now, when you're talking about brothers like Marcus Moselle Garvey, or you made a valid point, and this is your point. Our own people assassinated Kwame Kilpatrick. Arguably, people would say Kwame did it to himself.
Yes.
I'm not taking sides one way or the other on what happened with Kwame and how it happened. But what I will say is what happens with our leaders from Malcolm X to Martin Luther King all the way back to our brother Yahshua or Jesus. We assassinate our own leaders. Either we sell them out or we turn them over or we just kill them ourselves. This is what we do. And when you look at the history of every one of our leaders, our people has been at the root of the reason why they was able to even be touched, because we allowed them to be touched.
Got on television,
but why?
And confessed to the people, and asked for the people's forgiveness. And these people in the city of Detroit, the Caucasian has never even thought about apologizing for the crap that's been done.
That's right.
But when my brother and his wife got on the TV and asked for forgiveness of the city, I mean, and when I saw these politicians maneuvering, it just did something to me, man. It did something to me, and I just couldn't stand it anymore. And I said, these people got to go.
I didn't agree. I didn't agree with everything that Barack Obama did, said, and the moves that he made. I didn't agree with it, and I should not have agreed with everything because I don't think that it's one person that can satisfy me in its totality, and vice versa. I don't think that I can satisfy everybody in its totality. Like it's some people that's probably turned their channel because they don't agree with what we saying right now today. But what I would say is this right here. That brother and that sister and those children and that dog, they was in there for 8 years with class.
That's right.
And poise. And it's nothing really that they can say bad about that tenure or that administration for that 8 years other than what they created. The way that he dealt with it was classical. Yeah. How he kept how he maintained his, because me, if I was president and some of the things that they were saying about me, boy, oh boy, oh boy, I would be a little bit something like Trump, unfiltered. But yet, then I would be forced to apologize. But Trump is not forced to apologize for some of the most racist, outlandish, bigoted stuff that I've ever heard since the 60s.
He said he was raised not to apologize. Did you catch one of those interviews? That he was raised not to say I'm sorry. He don't apologize for anything.
I can believe that.
He was raised that way.
You know what? I think that, like Brother Farrakhan says, I think that, you know, this is the best thing that could have happened to this country because everything's got to be brought to a head. I think that our people have been so steeped in superstition that it's going to take a crisis of a biblical magnitude to really snap us out of the hypnotic state that we're in, and you know, and the superstitious state that we're in, and then bring all the minds together with the different things that we have to bring to the table, and then the natural leaders, not self-appointed messiahs, the natural leaders, like Marcus Garvey. Take, for example, Marcus Garvey was told it, and the Honorable, I'm getting all twisted here, Elijah Muhammad, I mean, fourth grade education kind of thing, you know. These people rose because it was their time to rise, and they didn't have to push themselves on anybody because they brought to the table something that people hungered for and naturally gravitated to.
Right.
But we have been steeped in superstition through churches and mosques and other religious entities.
You know.
And as a result of that, we have lost science and we have lost mathematics. So we don't have reasoning skills and we don't have the ability to apply our thinking to the real world.
Right. But you know, when I hear people say this about our leaders, that they only had a certain level of education, that was from a Eurocentric or westernized culture perspective, that they didn't have the education beyond this particular grade level according to their curriculum.
Right.
But we talking about the ingenious stuff that they were saying. Noble Drew Ali was saying in the early 20s that all life started in Africa and all life came from our people. And our people and Caucasians was running around and they were scrambling and our people was rejecting it. And here it is in the 2000s, in the 21st century, and now they're making documentaries about the real Adam and Eve and the real Eve and all life began in Africa. They saying the same thing. They saying the exact same thing that these brothers with these. Go ahead, brother.
I ain't come from no monkey.
Right.
You know, they don't even understand the evolutionary process and the science of evolution and the theory of evolution and how it is exactly what Noble Drew Ali was talking about, and these other brothers talking about the moon, how the moon was once part of the earth before the scientists had ever come up with that knowledge. Mm-hmm. But because we have been steeped in superstition, they got us with sloganeering, and he's sloganeering, I ain't come from no monkey, you know, but that's ain't no big bang, God said bang, and it was, you know, that kind of crazy insanity. And we have lost the sense of mathematics and the ability of physics and chemistry and biology, and now we're just superstitious. Right.
Well, I mean, the biggest Willie Lynch thing that's going on with us in our community, I mean, I'm gonna reiterate that.
Okay.
The most profound and potent place that Willie Lynch still exists to this very day, and it's everywhere now. I'm not saying that it's not everywhere, because it's everywhere, from the Bloods, the Crips, the Vice Lords, Latin Kings, all that's Willie Lynch. But the most potent place that I think is religion and politics when it comes down to our people. We need our own political party, and we need to put our own politicians that's going to serve our best interests, and we need to get our millionaires and billionaires to get behind them and lobby against an agenda that they don't have to feel ashamed of. Because for the most part, we shouldn't be ashamed of anything when it comes down to us wanting our own and doing for ourselves. There should be no apologies, none whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Because that is the very thing that they was taking us away from. And I really appreciate I enjoyed you, brother.
Taking my call. You and the sister, y'all do it, and I love it, man. And like I say, I'll listen. You had me breaking out the computer last week and dealing with that that whole concept of citizenship.
I want people to be careful with that sovereignty thing, though. Be careful with that. That sovereignty, the sovereignty movement, people that want to be sovereign and all that other stuff. By me being a Moor don't necessarily mean I subscribe to that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't study it neither.
Right.
And that's the very reason why I'm saying they should be careful with that. And they can't say that I'm no spy or no agent.
No.
If they did say I was a spy or agent,
nation going to look? This is the question that's in my mind. How is our nation going to look? One of the things that I believe has to occur is a crisis that's of a magnitude that would allow the individuals who are designed for the season to rise. They won't be self-appointed. See, this is what we've been getting, a lot of self-appointed. So you bring your idea to the table, the Moors bring, the sovereign folk bring their ideas to the table, whoever it happens to be, they're going to rise to the top not because they forced you to have to believe or threaten you with religious dogma, but because their methodology that they are bringing to the table works on a scientific and mathematical and human benefit level. This is what got to be the standard, I believe, and I believe we're going to need a crisis to get this done. I think that we're going to have to come to the table out of necessity rather than choice.
Well, that crisis that crisis within itself may be a blessing. And that crisis that you're talking about is what I'm saying. Donald Trump, keep him in office. Please, brothers and sisters, don't get out there and impeach him. Let him stay in there because that energy is what's going to force. We got what you call cause and effect, yin and a yang. You can't have the negative without the positive and vice versa. That's what it's like. Those of you who old enough to know what a Walkman is, and you put the AA batteries in there, if you put both of the AA batteries on positive, the Walkman is not going to work. Right. One has to be on positive and the other one has to be on negative so that they'll work together in order for the machine to work. So let the negative do what it does and let the positive do what it do. And from that, we're going to be able to abstract something and we're going to be able to build something. But I'm going to tell you something.
People say, like you say, the people say, we don't need a negative. Well, you take the negative post off of your battery and see how far your car goes.
You definitely need the negative.
You need a little negative.
We need science. We need some scientific thinking infused into our conversations. I really do. This is what has been stripped most from us. Not politics, not religion, because you can give the man all of these little institutions, but if you never give him the key to how to make these institutions work for him, he will become superstitious, and which we have done. Mathematics gives us the ability to think logically, rationally, and succinctly. Physics and chemistry and biology are the tools that we use to apply our thinking to the real world and create the universe that we want. It seems so simple to me.
Well, I don't see anything being hateful, and I don't see anything being insightful when we're talking about doing for self. When you have brothers and sisters that say integration is not our answer, when you got brothers and sisters like Elijah Muhammad or Prophet Noble Drew Ali or Sister Ava Muhammad or, and the list goes on and on of our great thinkers and minds. And when they say that, no, we don't want to integrate, no, we don't want to be a part of your system, we want to keep our own system, and our brothers and sisters talk down on them, but we have stats and statistics to show that when we integrate, it does nothing but diminish what we have built. Let me give you an example.
Exactly.
Look at the Negro League, the baseball league that we had, the Negro League. We was making our own money. We had our own stars.
That's right.
They was traveling, and they was doing for self. But as soon as they allowed for our brothers and sisters to come into their major leagues, the Negro Leagues was diminished. And it's this very same thing that's going on in our community.
This is a psychological technique that's used.
Right.
Sell the sizzle, not the steak.
Right.
And what that simply means is that you cause one individual who got the piece of gold to think that his gold is no good, and that your piece of paper is valuable.
Right.
And as a result of that, he will want to give up his gold to get your piece of paper and not wonder why he's impoverished.
And that's
And
because
so
the
we-
education,
we want-
but
we
that
have
goes
to
back to the
cultivate it.
education. That goes back to dumbing down. That has nothing to do with
Yeah.
sovereignty. It has nothing to do with none of that. It has something to do with having the education on economics. Knowing
Yes.
people don't know what money is.
No.
People don't
They
know,
don't know what money is.
My sister
Exactly.
right here. My
Not
sister,
just that though. If you remember, your grandmother years and years ago would tie a quarter or a silver dollar. We kept coins and silvers and pennies and things. My grandmother would tie a silver dollar, whether it was around her neck, around her grandchildren's navel, if it was too much hanging out or something, or just on her ankles
Right.
or something like that. So we didn't know to cherish the coins,
The value.
Right.
and how to cherish the coin, because like you said, that the note. The paper note, the dollar bill,
That's
is
right.
just that.
That's just that.
It's just that
When
the
the Federal
coins is what
Reserve
matters.
came on board in 1913, and then they turned around under Nixon and took us off the gold standard.
Right.
And
It wasn't
now
Nixon.
the
Hold on.
cultivation-
It wasn't Nixon. You got to go back a little further than that, brother. It was
Go back
Roosevelt.
further, when they first started the central bank.
Roosevelt.
When they first kicked in the central bank.
If I'm not mistaken, it was
my point
Roosevelt,
is-
brother.
My point is that that real money, we don't know. Again, you talked about economics. They don't teach us about economics in school.
No, they don't.
We don't know what economics is. We don't even understand. People say we got $3 trillion of money coming through our hand, and why are we so poor? Well, you don't. If you knew that the $3 trillion are inflated dollars, and they give them to you first, so that you can get the inflation off of them, and then they use them,
Right.
then you would understand why $3 trillion can come to your hand through your hands and you're still poor. You're getting the inflated dollars. You're not getting the money with the value.
They
in
don't
it because
teach you-
the value is much lower than the denomination says, and you're getting it like that. And so,
Right. They're not
That's why your
teaching.
price-
They're not teaching our people in school the value of economics or what economics
Right.
is. They're teaching them how to get a job and how to spend money. There's a big
how to get a
difference.
job.
How to spend money with them.
How to get a job and how to spend money. That's a big difference. But what we need
Right.
to understand is how to create our own jobs and where to spend our money. And I urge everybody, like the sister here, Renee, stepping out on faith, she's supporting the independent community. She sticks with the independent. She's not out there promoting these big stars like Oprah Winfrey and
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
No.
Not that we have a problem with them.
Exactly.
They
Clear
have
that
made
up.
it. And I'm proud of those brothers and sisters for applying themselves and
Right.
making it. But if we just
Well-
focus on those major stars, then what about the ones who's coming from the
Who's
same
coming
place they
up.
come from?
That's right.
That's on
Well,
the
they
come
said
up.
I tell you what, if China decides to dump all those dollars that she's holding, see what America is doing is printing dollars like crazy, and they have to get them offshore.
Right.
And people don't understand that your jobs are going offshore not because they just want to take the jobs offshore. They got to take the dollars offshore.
It shows
Because
you
they got
that
way-
now. See, that's perfect. That's perfect, brother. That's perfect. What you just said is so profound because you go back to. Do you remember how much money Muammar Gaddafi was going to give the Nation of Islam
Absolutely.
in 1990? $2 billion. And that was to go and to build our community. And what did the United Snakes of America say to
The
Farrakhan?
United what?
Huh?
The United what?
United States
Yep.
of America.
I thought I heard snake.
They
Snakes?
killed Gaddafi,
Yeah.
they
Sometime
killed,
they just coexist.
Noriega, they killed the brother in Iraq for the same reason. All of them were making attempts to get on the gold standard.
Exactly.
And see, once they got off that petrodollar, then all those petrodollars are going to start coming back to this country. And as soon as you have enough of them hit these shores, then you're going to see just how worthless they really are. And that's what the problem with America is.
That's
She's
it
trying to
right there.
protect
And
that
arguably, that's
petrodollar.
what got Kennedy killed, brother.
That's what got Kennedy killed.
That's
Exactly.
arguably that's,
So
and
that,
people don't know that.
001
I didn't know that.
the little signing paper that they do, 001, was
That-
just trying
no.
to get them back to the gold standard.
No. It was 11110. That was the executive
11110,
order
right.
that was
Yes.
putting, and he was putting the silver back into the certificates,
Right.
and he was
Right.
taking the power away from fiat money. He was putting the
Right.
power back into the citizenry because he understood that the natural resources is what back the money, the economics. If you don't have gold and silver and diamonds and oil and land to back your finance, then you don't have money.
Exactly. And that's a good point, because, see, now here's the situation, people, in America, for real. We are at the top of our earning power. The population is older, sickly, and we are at the top of our earning power. But the debt is so high and increasing so fast that we can't work enough hours and produce enough anymore to keep up with it. So it's a recipe for bankruptcy.
Right.
They can't put their way out of it anymore.
Right.
So their next step is to take us to war. And that's what you're about to see right now.
But hold on. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Now I'm in college, and I'm taking a marketing class right now. And my professor was talking about in the beginning, because I'm taking my summer classes, and she was talking about how when she was going to school, they was talking about being aggressive in business. But you had other countries and other languages, they equate aggression with war. But what I had to tell her is that your professor, in my opinion, was correct, because war is business and business is war. Let me explain to people what I'm talking about. If it wasn't for World War II, arguably, then we wouldn't have never came out of the Great Depression, because we became an industry country. We became industrialized. We was making bombs and tanks and airplanes and a lot of different stuff that was able to fuel the economy here in the United States of America. So war is business. So when you see people talking about war, those warmongers are in that business of waging war, because they make money. And I'm going to say this to my people. Please, if you can Google the companies that provide the bullets, just the bullets, not the bombs, just the bullets for the United States of America, invest your money in it. But if you can find them that make the bombs, just think about this. They dropped a $30 million bomb on ISIS a couple weeks ago, and only killed 20 people. They spent $30 million just to kill 30 people. Do you know how many people $30 million would have fed in the urban community, and how many houses, blight houses, could have been tore down so we can make room for all this blight that we have in our community with $30 million?
Absolutely.
We have to think from an economical perspective, and then once we have to understand economics.
That's right.
And that's our biggest problem. We don't understand. We know how to spend money, but we don't understand what money actually is, what our value actually is. But that was the very reason why they took our nationality away from us. Because when you don't know who you are and where you come from, you don't know what actually belongs to you. If you don't know who you are and where you come from, you don't know what belongs to you. If you don't have a nationality, you don't have land, and you don't have an inheritance. But when you know who you are, then you know what land belongs to you, and you know what is actually yours. So that was the purpose of taking you away from your nationality, because when 200-300 years go by and the people don't remember who they are, and they have this amnesia, they've been hit in the head and buried in this shallow grave, until a master like Noble Drew Ali came with the master grip, and he said, proclaim your nationality and return to the state of your ancient forefathers. That within itself pulled you out that shallow grave, but then you have to assassinate brothers like that. And that's what they did. Because once you are restored to your rightful throne and your inheritance, then you know that you wasn't brought over here to a foreign land per se that you knew nothing about, because it was nothing about this earth that our people didn't know nothing about, and that we didn't explore.
Well, you know, I think that we have yet to reach the threshold of pain, and when that threshold of pain is reached, nobody's going to have to ask us, do you want to go?
Well, we ain't at the threshold of pain now, because we got marijuana dispensaries on every corner, liquor stores on every corner, and we feeling good. So the pain has been numbed, brother.
Let me tell you this, and I got to go, man. The Arabs that run the city of Detroit, run the business community of Detroit, are now migrating down to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, right into the black community, and they are from Michigan. They are flooding it all up in the countryside of Quitman and Clark County, Mississippi. In the black communities, Arab, Chaldean run stores. and it's just amazing to watch this happen. They have so saturated southeastern Michigan and every black community that they can't grow any further, so they stretch it out. And we won't even look outside of the city of Detroit. We don't travel anywhere. We don't go anywhere. So, you know, when I call into the station, for example, some people say, you don't live in Detroit. You don't need to be talking about it. This planet is mine.
That's
Hello.
right.
See, when you understand that, I am where I am. And this, when the whole thing is yours, you can talk about what you want to talk about.
That's right.
I'm a free man.
That's right.
See, but what I'm noticing, again, this nationality thing that you're talking about, and the fact that we are steeped in religious superstition is sabotaging our
Everybody got a
reasoning ability,
nationality.
and we got to be snapped out of it.
Everybody got a nationality, and they hold on to theirs, and we the only fools. It's two
We
people.
don't.
It's two
We
people
don't.
now. It's two people that cling on to things that has nothing to do with nationality. One is white, and the other one is black. But they put brown and they put yellow and red on other nationalities as well, and they were smart enough to reject it. You don't see no
You're right.
no
When I
brothers
was in
and sisters
college-
that's
when I
from
was in
China
college,
or Japan calling
I was-
themselves yellow.
When I was in college, I was going to school with a lot of Africans, Nigerians, and Koreans in particular. But I remember this one incident when I was talking to this brother, and I said, I thought you was black. He said, I'm Nigerian. He corrected me, and believe me, in my mind, there was some confusion. Wait a minute, you black. But he was saying, I'm Nigerian.
Well, it was a
And
case.
it's just amazing the way he identified, because when he talks about Nigeria, he talks about a place,
Right.
a location, a culture. When I talk about black, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Well, it was a case.
So-
It was a case. I think it was here in the state of Michigan. I could be, because I'm 47 years old now, and I really don't remember things like I used to. But it was a case where a brother was from Egypt, and he looked just like me. Complexion was the same as mine.
Right.
Hair complexion was the same as mine, and it was a grant out there for black business owners, small business owners. And the brother applied for it, and they told him that he can't. He's not applicable. It doesn't apply to him, and he was trying to figure out why it didn't apply to him when he looked like the very same people that they was giving the money to. And they said, because you are from East Africa, and you are considered to be white. He was from Egypt,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
his name was Mustafa. And the
Yeah.
brother appealed it, took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and they told him, you cannot claim anything that has anything to do with people who are inheritors of the transatlantic slave trade. And that brother was
Right.
darker than me, hair just as nappy as mine used to be, because I don't got none no more. And the brother
I wanna
was
address
shot
the
down
question to the
because
sister,
they
and I'm
consider
gonna
him to
hang
be
up
white.
and listen to her. And maybe even the other sister that comes on after can even address this. I am very concerned about the state of mind of the ladies. I really am.
The who?
Because they are the
who?
nation,
Are the ladies?
and the women
Okay.
among us, our ladies.
Uh-oh.
They are the nation, but as I'm noticing, I gotta say it, they're very angry, and
They have a right to
when
be
I
angry.
speak to different ones and they talk, it's like this. They're mad at the black man.
They are. They have a right to be angry with us.
If I can
And,
interject.
Hold on. The sister says she want to
could you-
interject.
I just want to ask you to just
Oh, no,
deal
I
with
got it.
that
Hold
for a
on.
minute. I'm
Wait a
gonna
minute. Wait a minute. The sister says she want to interject. So if you please, me and you been talking most of the time. Let the sister interject.
Yes.
And greetings, brother.
Greetings, sis.
I am a mother of three. They all are adults now, and really three young ladies. I didn't get a chance to birth any sons. I believe I was forced into being a single parent, a single mother. Did I fail? No. I had no choice but to succeed and walk with God and raise my daughters to be productive adults. So now I'm a grandmother of 6.5. And everybody's married, college degrees, and they have their families and their homes. But I believe I was forced. Was I angry in my younger days? I was angry because I had to work harder to protect my family, because the man the dad was not there to protect us, and I had to do the protecting.
And that's a phenomenon in our community. It was by design.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted. It was by design, but a lot of times we use that design as an excuse.
I think that, well, I may be answering my own question, but because I do know that if the females are messed up, the male's going to be jacked up real bad.
Yeah, that's a fact. Because that's who raised
But how
them.
do we change the tide of that attitude? You know, what do we do to change that?
We got to be able to trust. We got to be able to trust the men and each other. There's no trust to me, based on what I'm looking at. I have daughters 28, 26, and 24. And the men that they're coming across seem to want to deceive them, make them think that they're for them, yet when they get what they want or however, they're not there for them. They're not as strong as nothing is like it used to be. Cornflakes don't even stay crunchy in milk like it used to be. The man today is not like he used to be. I hate to say it, big three workers that work in the plants. The cars are not made like they used to be. It's not in the heart no more. It's not in the soul. Does that make sense?
The sisters say men ain't like they used to be.
Does that make sense?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you
what
my grandmama said to me before she died, and she passed in the 90s. She said, "Baby, it seems as though to me that we turning from beautiful, sexy women and hard-working men into beautiful, sexy men and hard-working women."
Wow. I have 3 sons, and my oldest boy is graduating from high school. He's just a star at it. He's a star academically speaking. I'm very concerned about the selection of ladies that he's going to have. I raised these boys to be men and teach them values and righteousness, but I'm very, very concerned about the quality of women that they will have to choose from.
That's right.
I'm very concerned.
So you would teach him, my opinion, you would teach him on how to treat a woman and how a woman should treat him as well, because it goes both ways.
It definitely does.
We as women
he's
should
listening
respect
too, by
our
the way.
men as well as we're being respected in both ways.
Yeah,
Right.
vice versa. I have to agree with
think-
on that. But if sisters really want to change it, if sisters really want to change the condition of our people, and they want brothers to really step up, including my behind, close your legs. See what happens.
Oh,
I agree on that. Close your
you
legs.
might as well say it.
Close your legs. Keep your keys in your pocket.
Close your legs, see what happens, and I guarantee you we'll figure it out. Because as long as sisters is allowing it and they willing it for it to happen, and they complacent with it, if you want to know any nation, the level of consciousness of any nation, all you have to do is look at 2 things: their community and their women.
I do want to say this.
Absolutely.
I have a male best friend. He's a best friend, and he didn't want to tell me this. He said this was the rule of the men, and he didn't really want to tell me. But at the time, I was going through something with the men, and I was being mistreated in more ways than one. And he told me, he said, "Renee, we know how to act to get what we want." And that's something, if he's never told me a truthful thing in his life, in the 15, 20 years that I've known him, I believe that is the truth.
That's a fact.
And I'm not knocking no men.
My father taught me 3 things about a woman. He said, if you really want to get to know a woman, he said, you talk to her and never look below her neck unless she's your wife or your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
You never ask a woman for money, and you never move in with a woman.
Hallelujah.
He said, you follow those 3 rules, you're going to pick the right one. I just think a lot of this stuff, like I say, a crisis. We're gonna need a crisis to handle this. But I think that our boys need to be educated separately. Since the brother said that we know how to act to get what we want, then it seems to me that we would model our boys' minds to want some higher level thinking, some righteous thinking,
Right.
and then that way they will act righteously to get a righteous woman, and it won't be a fake thing if we just begin to teach them. So, maybe we do need to step back and start educating our children separately,
Yes, sir.
separate sexes, to teach them things.
Yes, sir. I agree.
I'm out of here, you guys. I got to go. I appreciate
Hey,
you.
now
indulging me, though, this evening.
actually,
really
brother,
do.
you in here.
You in here the whole hour? No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
But we do
okay.
have to shout out some people.
Took over the
LaWanda.
show. Yeah.
Shout out.
I sometimes get a little boisterous there, and but I love my people. I
We
love my
love you.
people, and I have decided. I've written 8 books, and one of my books is entitled "Cure for Detroit: The Return to Self." You could look it up. It's on Amazon, and it's Dr. Alonzo Fleming.
All right.
I've written The Devil's Advocate, a spiritual man's case against God, which is an analysis of our spiritual condition.
Put a copy.
and
Put a
why
copy.
I think
Do me a
it
favor,
exists,
brother. Do me a favor.
But it's
Do me a favor.
Sure.
Because we got to get ready to get off the air. We only got a couple minutes
Yeah.
left. But what I want you to do is I want you to send a copy of that book to the Think Tank Show and carry Brother
Okay.
Bay, the Think Tank Show at 160 Victor Street, Highland Park, Michigan.
right. I sent it there to the station.
Send it. No, send it. No. You send it to the station, but I want you to send it to me, Brother Bay.
Okay.
Send it to Brother Bay, the Think Tank Show at 160 Victor Street, Highland Park, Michigan, and we'll put that thing
Okay,
up.
that would
And
be
I'ma
nice.
look
I'll
it
do
up.
that. I'll get a copy sent to you immediately.
Yep, get it
See,
to
maybe
me,
we can
brother.
get on there and just discuss some of the concepts. What I want to do, man, is start speaking out. I've been sort of timid. I get on the radio, but I get asked to speak in a lot of places, and I turn it down because, I'm just not that type. But I think I'm going to start doing that because I believe I have something to bring to the table.
That's right.
That's
And
right.
I've done the research and I've done the work to merit my voice being heard. I haven't just sat around and talked.
And
Well, you
owe
taught
it
me
to
something.
our future. You owe it to our future.
You taught me something,
Our
brother.
future young people, so they can learn something. Who else is teaching them if you're not?
And tell the brothers and
Well, there
sisters
it
down
is
there.
there.
Tell them brothers and sisters down there in the dirty South, man, if you really can, let them brothers and sisters know that there's a thing called TV33 WHPR right here
Oh,
in
man,
Detroit,
I'm
Highland
talking
Park,
about
Michigan.
y'all. You know,
And they
I
can
talk about
access
y'all
us
all
on
the
their
time.
phone, their computer,
Thank you, brother.
etc.
Peace.
Yep.
Peace to you.
That's
All right.
right, brother. Peace to you. Salutations.
Give your shouts out to LaWanda from the
Oh, yeah.
from Fake Friends.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
tuned in. Shouts out to Jamara Lee. He's watching us out of Grand Rapids up there. And we got a Vegas watching from Sovo Ouija Collide. He's in Las Vegas, and they're all tuning in.
LaWanda,
To
you
the
know we
Think
love
Tank
you.
Show. We
Now,
love you
LaWanda
guys.
Come on every
Every Wednesday,
from
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Fake
on,
Friends.
Yeah, Fake Friends on Comcast 90, 91, radio we can see down in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
LaWanda, you doing your thing.
With R.J. Watkins, Mr. R.J. Watkins, and
And
Mr.
Henry
Henry
Tyler,
Tyler, and
yeah.
Auntie Betty.
And
We love
Auntie
y'all.
Betty. Auntie Betty, stop hitting on me.
Don't even try it.
Love you, Auntie Betty. Love you. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to the Think Tank Show. Y'all tune in to us next week. Same place, same time. I'm your brother, Brother Bay, right here. And I'll be here next week, inshallah.
Thank you for having me on your show, Brother Bay.